Welcome to this explainer created by Deutschlingo. Today, we're going to entirely demystify one of the most notoriously tricky concepts for language learners, German separable verbs. Seriously, if you've ever stared at a long German sentence and wondered, wait, where did the rest of my verb go? You are absolutely in the right place. We're going to show you exactly how to conquer these linguistic gymnastics and build sentences like a total pro.
And hey, before we really get into the weeds, just a quick reminder that this essential grammar lesson comes to you from Deutschlingo, the absolute best place for online German lessons for all levels. If you're looking for structured, highly effective language tools, be sure to check out our website, deutschlingo.com. Okay, let's get into it.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover what separable verbs actually are. Then we'll learn the golden rule of sentence structure. After that, we'll tackle asking questions, categorize our prefixes, and finally, look at a few exceptions and mix-ups.
Section 1. What are separable verbs? Let's officially meet the main characters of our grammar story here, the base verb and its trusty, if sometimes rebellious, sidekick, the prefix. You know, I always find it super helpful to look at the literal breakdown of the German term itself, trennbare Verben. The word trennen literally means to separate, and the suffix bar just means able. So, separable. It tells you exactly how these verbs behave. They're literally built to be split apart in your sentences. And honestly, this right here illustrates why this concept is so incredibly useful. By attaching just a tiny, simple prefix, you completely change the meaning of the base verb. Take fahren, for example, which means to drive. Pop ab onto the front, and abfahren suddenly means to depart. Swap that out for los, and losmachen becomes to set off. It's literally like a linguistic Lego set where clicking on a new piece gives you a completely brand new word. Moving on to section 2, the golden rule. Let's see how this all builds into actual sentence construction. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is avoiding the direct English translation trap. Let's use the verb ankommen, which means to arrive. In English, we keep the verb whole, right? I arrive in Berlin. If you try to directly translate that structure, you'd get ich ankommen in Berlin. And listen closely here, in German, that is completely incorrect. You really have to embrace the German way, where that prefix, the an, gets chopped off and sent far, far away to the end. The correct phrasing is, ich komme in Berlin an. Let's map out exactly how we construct an Aussage, or a standard statement. Look at how logically this unfolds. In position 1, we have our subject, Lisa. In position 2, our conjugated base verb sits very comfortably, kommt. Then you basically pack in all your extra info right in the middle, 9 Uhr mit dem Zug, or at 9 o'clock with the train. But finally, our sidekick prefix, on, is banished to the absolute end of the sentence, kind of acting like a little grammatical period.
Guys, if you take nothing else away from this explainer today, please burn this quote into your memory. Das Präfix steht immer am Satzende. The prefix always stands at the end of the sentence. This is, without a doubt, your ultimate cheat code for mastering German sentence structure. Whenever you're making a standard main clause statement, that prefix is just going to wait patiently for you at the very end.
Section 3, asking questions. Because now that we've totally conquered statements, we need to adapt our golden rule for when we want to actually extract information from someone. So you're probably wondering, does the rule change here? When we flip the sentence structure around for a W question, does our sidekick prefix finally get to move back next to its best friend, the main verb? Well, let's take a look. Spoiler alert, the answer is a resounding no. Even when we start our sentence with a question word in position 1, like wann, meaning when, and follow it with our base verb in position 2, kommt, the prefix stubbornly stays at the very end of the sentence. Wann kommt Lisa mit dem Zug an? See? The logic just doesn't break. And guess what? This beautifully holds true for yes or no questions as well. In this case, our base verb kommt jumps to the very front of the line to form the question. Then we have our subject, Lisa, and our info 9 Uhr.
But once again, the golden rule prevails. That prefix on remains anchored firmly at the very end. Kommt Lisa neun Uhr an? It really is an incredibly reliable rule once you get the hang of it.
All right, moving into section 4, prefix categories. Because to truly master this grammar hack, just knowing the rule isn't quite enough. We actually need to know exactly which prefixes act as these separable sidekicks. Okay, so here is your first batch of highly common separable prefixes. This is absolutely one of those moments where you might want to take a screenshot and memorize these for your next Deutschlingo lesson. If you see verbs starting with ab, an, auf, aus, ein, los, or mit, like einkaufen, to shop, or aufstehen, to get up, you immediately know you're dealing with a separable verb. Just chop off that prefix and send it to the back. And you'll definitely want to add this second group to your list as well. These are highly directional and action-oriented prefixes like nach, her, hin, vor, weg, zu, and zurück. A really great everyday example here is vorbereiten, meaning to prepare. Just keep in mind, whenever you use any of these in a standard main clause, that prefix is taking a long hike to the end of the sentence. Finally, we've reached section 5, exceptions and mix-ups. Because, come on, no German grammar explainer would be truly complete without a few exceptions that just love to bend the rules, right? So, unlike our separable friends we just looked at, these specific prefixes on the list here are permanently glued to their base verbs. They are entirely inseparable. If you see be, emp, ent, ge, hinter, miss, ver, or sir, just leave the verb whole. Words like verkaufen, to sell, or beantworten, to answer, never ever split apart. You would just say, ich verkaufe. Nice, simple, and exactly where you expect it to be. But watch out, because here's the ultimate curveball, the chameleon prefixes. There are a few really sneaky prefixes like durch, über, unter, and that can be either separable or inseparable. And what's wild is that splitting them actually changes the meaning entirely. Get this, if you treat fahren as a separable verb and say